Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to yet another shoot and release video. You might be like, Rachana, what's up? 2 days back to back shoot and release. The world leaders and so much action and so much new things to learn every single day. So, it's my style. Whatever I learn, I love to share it with you all, and that is the reason why we are doing again one more shoot and release video. And everyone knows the drill. Because it's a shoot and release, there is a chance that I may fumble upon something, I may use some wrong figures. So just in case if I say something wrong, please don't forget to check out the link in the description, the clarification in the description and in the pinned comment, where you will see corrections if any. Okay, so what is today's video all about? It's about US versus China. What's going up? If you have read, just like few hours ago, a news came up which said that China has again put some additional retaliatory tariffs to 84%. What is that? What's going on? We are going to decode everything today. Okay, I hope you are aware that there are two sets of countries right now who are dealing with Trump in different ways. One set of countries which includes India, wherein we are taking a softer stance and we are saying that okay, well, let's discuss, let's come to terms where it will be beneficial to both the parties. Okay, versus there is another set of countries like China who are saying that aap share hum sawa share. If you are going to do some sort of tariffs on us, we will counter it with some additional tariffs. In fact, I heard one of the jokes from one of my friend today. He said, instead of Sunny Deol's Tariq pe Tariq Janab, they are doing tariff pe tariff Janab. Okay, I know this is bad, but let's get started. First and foremost, we have to understand what is the scene between USA and China. Okay, for that I'm going to just quickly share this short presentation that we have done. Understand some basic stats. Okay, China is the second largest source of import of US, so for USA after Mexico. So if I'm talking about USA imports from Mexico. That Mexico is at the top slot for imports, and second highest is China. So you can imagine so much is being imported from China. If it is about exports, US exports highest to Canada and Mexico, and then at the third place we are talking about China. But this is about first, second, third place. If I were to understand about in rupee terms or in dollar terms, US imported goods worth $426.9 billion from China, and exports is only $147.8 billion. So can I say US is in a clear trade deficit? Answer is yes. See, everyone knows that goods can be manufactured way cheaper in China, and that is the reason why even US companies don't have factories in US, but they have factories in China. And that is the reason why Trump is not feeling good. Trump is saying factory should not be in China, factory should be in USA. People should, companies should ensure that they are manufacturing in USA, they are creating more employment opportunities in USA, and that is the reason why he is saying that to stop such a thing, we will impose tariffs. Now, when this tariff war started, first US imposed a 34% additional tariff on China, and originally it was 20%, so now the total went up to 54%. But first let's talk about additional tariffs. 34% US imposed on China. You can see the timeline here also. What did China say? You are imposing a tariff? Okay, we'll also impose a tariff on you. 34% China imposed on USA. Okay, now you are understanding, because it's a bilateral thing. Both are importing and exporting to each other, and they are big trade partners. That is why it's going to impact both of them. Now what happened on April 7th? US threatened, we'll impose additional 50% on China. Now the total went up to 104%. How 104%? Original was 20% plus 34% plus 50% takes it up to 104%. इतना नहीं समझ में आया तो भी ठीक है. Additional tariffs were 34%, retaliated with another 34%. Then US said, okay, additional 50%. Now today, few hours ago, China has said, we will now slap you with another 50% additional tariff, which will now take it to 84%. So both have, in short, imposed additional at 84% tariffs on each other. Is this big? Answer is yes. Okay. Are both angry with each other? 100% yes. What is Trump saying additionally? Trump is saying that we are also going to triple tariffs on packages from Shein and Temu, such websites. So if I were to just give you a parallel, like we order from websites like Amazon or Flipkart or whatever, there are so many people in USA who would order parcels from these websites from China, and it could be like even mobile covers, such small packages. Now Trump is saying that we are going to triple the tariff on all these small packaged items which are coming from such Chinese websites. Okay, he is saying this is, so we are going to do this. But in addition to that, everyone has definitely read about tariffs on pharma. he mentioned this, we are going to be doing something very big on drug imports, a major tariff is coming, and he has specifically mentioned we want these companies to make their products here, that is in America, not in China or elsewhere. He has specifically called out China for that. Is China going to be absolutely angry at this? No second thoughts on this. So what measures China has in their hand? Possibility number one, like we discussed, they are, whatever tariffs US is going to import, they are going to put a reciprocal tariff on US. Okay, so it's going to be like tit for tat. US imposes on China, China says we will also impose tariff on you. That's possibility one, China can do in retaliation. Second one is the possibility that they start dumping US bonds, and this could be something really big. Okay, now you'll be like, Rachana, what's up? From tariffs, achanak se we are moving to US bonds. What is this whole thing about dumping US bonds? We are going to discuss about this. Fantastic discussion. But before this, I would want to tell you that we are not only going to discuss about possibilities of recession, what has happened in the past with recessions. If recession were to truly come, could Nifty slide down to some XYZ levels? What could these be? If a recession doesn't come up, then what could be the levels till which Nifty could go? Which sectors should we be focusing on in such tough times? All these things, along with different points of money management, is going to be discussed in our Har Ghar Investor event in Bangalore. Last few seats are remaining. I mean, crazy. Since yesterday, more than 100 tickets have been booked. You can see this, all levels are filling fast. Very few seats remaining here. So anyone who wants to level up their knowledge, don't forget to book the seats for the Har Ghar Investor event in Bangalore. It's happening this Saturday on the 12th of April. The link to book your seats is there in the description box and in the pinned comment. Okay, so see you soon in Bangalore. Of course, we are going to have a lot of selfies, fun. No need to tell that. It is going to happen for sure. Okay, now let's move on. What is the starting dumping of US bonds? Going back to this. First of all, we have to understand, if you have seen my yesterday's video, it was super important, and that is where we discussed about US issuing bonds or treasury bills, also called as T-bills, and this debt that US currently has is pretty huge. It's almost $36 trillion of debt. Now you might be like, what is all this thing? What do we mean by US issuing these treasury bills or T-bills or bonds? See, what happens is that if US needs money, US is going to raise debt. How does US raise debt? By issuing such instruments like treasury bills. We'll be like, okay, US is going to issue treasury bills. Agreed. Who is going to buy that? Who is going to buy that? It could be different institutional investors like banks, pension funds, mutual funds, or it could be foreign governments and central banks. Foreign governments means, can Japan invest in US treasuries? Can China invest in US treasuries? Answer is yes. But then you would be like, why would China invest in US treasuries? Reasons could be simple. They could earn interest on this, obviously, because these are bonds, these are treasury bills that will fetch interest. And of course, that is considered as a safe form of investment because it's ultimately like a US government instrument. So chances of default is going to be like na ke barabar, extremely like next to zero. Okay. Now question is, how much has China invested in US bonds, and can that be used as a tool to, cross bet on USA, to, blackmail USA? Could that be used as a tool? Okay, so let's understand how much have they invested in US bonds. Now, if you see here, this is a chart from Statista, and you can see our maximum holding is by Japan. Okay, it's to the tune of $1 trillion. Out of $36 trillion, only one country, Japan, is holding $1 trillion, and China is holding $0.75 trillion. This is also pretty big. You might be like, okay, China holds these bonds, so what? Now understand, very important. Next 2 to 3 minutes are very important. Okay. Now, what could happen? Understand. If you have seen yesterday's video, I told you that yes, USA has a debt of $36 trillion, and almost 20 to 25% of that is due for refinancing. Okay, whenever US is going to put this up for refinancing, they would want that they would be able to refinance this at a lower interest rate, is what US would want. Because if the interest rate is low, their interest cost would be less. This would help them to reduce their fiscal deficit. With me? Yes, one more time. If they are able to refinance this at a lower rate of interest, this will help them to reduce their interest cost, and this will narrow down their fiscal deficit. Good for USA. What can China do? China knows that they are due for refinancing. China holds big in US treasuries, in US bonds, they can start selling US bonds. Okay, what happens? If they sell more US bonds, what will happen? The supply for US bonds will be more. If supply is more, prices are going to drop. Plain economics, more supply, less demand. Prices of US bonds, US treasury bills will drop, and if prices drop, then the yields rise. So, normal inverse relation between bond prices and bond yields. Okay, if bond yields rise, acha, is this really happening? Is this really happening or not? That also we have to check. Are bonds being sold or not? Who is saying bonds are being sold? And if bonds are really being sold, are the yields rising or not? We'll have to check that, and let's check it. Are yields rising or not? This is the latest chart. This is the live chart you can see for US 10-year yield, and you can see that they were going down and down and down, and look at the movement in last 3 days. US bond yields have shot up. Today it's up 3%, yesterday up 2%, day before yesterday up 5%. So 5 plus 2 plus 3, 10% rise in US bond yields in 3 days is a big thing. You can see that this downward sloping trend line has been clearly breached, correct? Now, is this a theory that bonds, China might be dumping treasuries? Yes, this is one of the theories. I found this on investing.com, very interesting article, and this one says that there is a speculation from several well-placed investors that China is dumping US treasuries, the point that we were discussing, possibly in retaliation to the US tariffs. Okay, the chatter comes just hours ahead of Trump's massive 104% tariff set to hit Beijing at midnight. Now comes an important point. Who is saying all these things? Of course, a lot of people, but still, one such source is venture capitalist and Trump supporter Chamat CP, and he's saying that this is a possibility, and what could happen if they start dumping US treasuries? This is an effort to move yields up. That is what we saw right now. Okay, now let us come back to the main discussion, that if yields shoot up, then what is the big deal? See, this is what we discussed. China sells more supply of bonds, bond prices fall, and when bond prices fall, yields rise. Okay, this is where we are. Now last connection, very important connection. See, understand, if yields are rising, what could happen? When US wants to refinance their bonds, they can't say that even though yields are at 4.4%, we are going to reissue our bonds at a coupon rate of 2.5%. They can't say that. Who will buy those bonds? Ideally, they'll have to match the coupon rate or take it very close to the current yields. And if that be so, their refinancing cost could be on a higher side. That is what exactly I'm trying to tell you, that if yields go up, there's a problem. They'll have to incur a higher borrowing cost. And if this happens, then the plan of reducing their fiscal debt, the overall intent behind these tariffs, one of the intent behind the tariffs, could go for a toss. Okay, so today I tried to tell you about something which many people have been talking about recently. It's being talked about a lot. How could these tariffs and US versus China, what retaliatory measures China can take? One point we talked about was retaliation through tariffs, but one very important point that we talked about today was retaliation by selling US bonds, US treasuries, which can rise up yields and which can make their refinancing costlier, which can hurt USA. So it will be really interesting to watch what happens next. I hope you are loving this new series about geopolitical events and how US versus China is shaping up. If you love this, please let me know in the comment section. Yesterday, so many people told me that yes, they are finding interest in this economics related content. So if you're loving it, just please give a like to this video. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Don't forget to read the pinned comment and description, because that is where I'll put up corrections if any. And if you're in Bengaluru, please don't forget to book your seats. Seats are filling up fast. I'll see you at the Harghar Investor event. We'll learn a lot. We'll have lots and lots of fun. I'll see you. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.